Hello guys, gals, non-binary pals, and waterfowls. It's me, Big Mike, coming at you with another episode of Big Mike's Big Universe. And if it sounds like I'm tired, fam, you best believe I am. I was up almost all night watching the House Oversight Committee's hearing on UAPs, or UFOs as they're commonly known. And the hearing is definitely the star of this show today, fam. No mistake about that. However, we're also going to be talking about the incident that took place over the Louisiana sky a week or so ago. So before we jump into it, I just want to put up my disclaimer because the hearing does involve politics. So full disclaimer here. Just because I mention or discuss a politician does not mean I agree, condone, support, or endorse their politics, opinions, or views. The same is true of any political party I may mention. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Libertarian, and I'm not a member of the Green Party. I just identify as a partyless leftist. Also, my channel isn't a political channel, so my politics don't even matter. The first story we're going to be discussing today is the House of Representatives Oversight Committee's hearing on UAPs or UFOs, or as it's officially called, or was officially called, the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, Implications on National Security, Public Safety, and Government Transparency. And full disclaimer here, fam, this is not going to be a full breakdown. The hearing lasted for 2.5 hours, so there was no possible way I could break down every single thing. However, I'm going to hit a couple of the major points, and this isn't even going to be exhaustive of the major points, but these are just the ones that stick out in my mind. Now, by far, the star witness here was David Grusch. And the first 2 points we're going to mention here are related to David Grusch. Now, the first point I want to bring up is that he mentioned that the United States government is absolutely in possession of UAPs. Now, David Grusch, he told the panel that was asking him questions. He told them that it is absolutely certain that the federal government is in possession of UAPs, citing interviews he said he conducted with 40 witnesses over a 4-year period. Grusch went on to say that he had led the Defense Department efforts to analyze reported UAP sightings, and was told of a multi-decade Pentagon program that endeavored to collect and reconstruct crashed UAPs. When questioned on this by Representative Jared Moskowitz, a Democrat from Florida, on how such a program receives its funding, Grusch claimed that the effort is above congressional oversight and bankrolled by a misappropriation of funds. Now, to follow this up, Moskowitz asked, does that mean there's money in the budget that is set to go to a program, but it doesn't and it goes to something else? Yes, he replied. I have specific knowledge of that. However, Grusch did not provide any further details, claiming the information remains classified. The next major point was the fact that non-human biologics were found at a crash site. Grusch, who since from the very beginning of this whole situation, since coming forward, has stated that he himself was not an eyewitness. So he has not personally spotted a UAP, but he told the panel that he knows of multiple colleagues who were injured by UAPs. He also said that he has interviewed individuals who have recovered non-human biologics from crashed UAPs. Grusch said he prefers to use the term non-human rather than alien or extraterrestrial. He was asked by Representative Eric Bolison, a Republican from Missouri, to substantiate the crash UAP's claim. The former intelligence official said he could not divulge specific details, once again claiming the information was too sensitive to share with the public. He did, however, describe the nature of what he saw. I have to be very careful here. What I personally witnessed, myself and my wife, was very disturbing. So a couple things here I want to touch on. Firstly, repeatedly, he said that he could not mention some of these things. He could not mention a lot of the details. And that's because this was a public hearing. The committee tried to get a SCIF room, but unfortunately it was blocked from doing so. And I'll get more into that at the end. Now, another point I want to bring up is the use of the term biologics. Now, some people have pointed out that this term was used specifically because it refers not just to genetic material, but any type of living material that may or may not be genetic or may or may not have DNA. Now, that's far, far outside of my range of expertise, so I can't comment on whether or not that's true or not, but some people have made that statement. So if you're knowledgeable about biology and would like to chime in, or if you're knowledgeable about, any of the related sciences in this matter, please feel free to chime in the comment section below and let me know. Now, lastly, I just want to point out, and this goes without saying, it should really go without saying, but NBC has reported that the Pentagon has denied Grusch's claims. I don't think that really surprises anybody that's been following this story or that's been following UAPs or UFOs. Nobody really expects them to come out and admit this, at least not yet. Maybe one day, maybe when they have no other choice, but not now. A third big point that was brought up there, and was brought up repeatedly, was the fact that officials need to establish a safe and transparent reporting process. Now, some lawmakers and witnesses pushed the federal government to establish clear channels to communicate UAP information with both public and the military, and said the military should establish a comprehensive reporting process for unidentified object sightings. Ryan Graves, a former Navy pilot, told the panel that military pilots do not feel adequately briefed on UAPs, which he said leaves them unprepared to respond to UAP encounters. The former Navy pilot claimed that commercial airline pilots have also spotted UAPs. There has to be a safe and transparent reporting process for pilots both on the commercial side and the military side to be able to report UAPs, Representative Garcia said. Stigmas were another huge issue that were brought up there, specifically stigmas associated with sightings and how they silence possible witnesses. Some witnesses and lawmakers at the hearing argued that the stigma associated with reporting UFO sightings, as well as the alleged harassment of those who work to investigate them, may be hindering efforts to determine their origins. Graves told the panel that stigma silences pilots who fear professional repercussions, which he said is compounded by recent government claims questioning the credibility of eyewitness testimony. The Federal Aviation Administration has no mechanism for pilots to report UAPs and instead directs them to civilian groups that are often dismissed as the domain of cranks and conspiracy theorists. Lawmakers said they hoped the hearing could help abate pilots' fears of speaking out. Representative Garcia went on to say, "This hearing will not be the end of this discussion, but a new chapter and start. We should encourage more reporting and more study of UAPs. The more we understand, the safer we are." The last point I want to bring up in regards to the hearing is Matt Gates' testimony on the UFO formation. Now, he got this information from the radar data that he received from the Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. Now, Gates said he's personally seen the radar data from the incident, and he's the only member of Congress to have done so. Now, here I'm going to attempt to show you clips from where he discussed this. Not sure if I'm going to be able to get it across the YouTube copyright system or not, but I'm going to try my best, and if not, I will give you a summary.
And we did meet with one member of the flight crew who took the image. The image was of something that I am not able to attach to any human capability, either from the United States or from any of our adversaries. And I'm somewhat informed on the matter, having served on the Armed Services Committee for 7 years, having served on the committee that oversees DARPA and advanced technologies for several years. When we spoke with the flight crew, and when he showed us the photo that he'd taken, I asked why the video wasn't engaged, why we didn't have a FLIR system that worked. Here's what he said. They were out on a test mission that day over the Gulf of Mexico. And when you're on a test mission, you're supposed to have clear airspace. Not supposed to be anything that shows up. And they saw a sequence of 4 craft in a clear diamond formation for which there is a radar sequence that I alone have observed in the United States Congress. One of the pilots goes to check out that diamond formation and sees a large floating, what I can only describe as an orb. Again, like I said, not of any human capability that I'm aware of. And when he approached, he said that his radar went down, he said that his FLIR system malfunctioned, and that he had to manually take this image from one of the lenses, and it was not automated in collection as you would typically see in a test mission.
I will say this, I don't know much about the man's politics, so again, with my disclaimer, please don't take this as an endorsement of his politics, but Grusch may have been the star witness, but Gates stole the show when he gave his testimony. Gates stole the show, fam. That came out of left field. Nobody there was expecting that. Nobody watching was expecting that. Gates himself, is not even a committee member. He was a guest that was allowed to ask questions. And so this really came out of left field, and it's really eye-opening. And now he also gave some really good advice as well.
It was stated explicitly to me by these test pilots that if you have a UAP experience, the best thing you can do for your career is forget it and not tell anyone. Because any type of reporting, either above the surface or below the surface, does have a perceived consequence to these people. That perhaps as we move forward from this hearing, there are some obvious next steps. Every person watching this knows that we need to meet with Mr. Grusch in a secure, compartmentalized facility so that we can get fulsome answers that do not put him in jeopardy and that give us the information we need. Second, I would suggest that the radar images that were collected of this formation of craft out of Eglin Air Force Base, and specifically the actual image taken by the actual flight crew that we can actually validate, be provided to the committee, subpoenaed if necessary, so that we're able to track how to get this type of reporting and analysis done in a more fulsome way. That would be my recommendation, humbly, as a guest here of the fine Oversight Committee. I yield back.
They want a subpoena to get that information, to get that evidence. And I hope they can. The last thing I want to bring up here is just the aftermath of what happened. Immediately after the hearing was over, Representative Luna and her colleagues held a mini press conference where they answered reporters' questions and such. Now, Luna reports that she and her colleagues have requested a SCIF briefing room. Now, I mentioned SCIF before, but SCIF means Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility. So this is a place where they're going to make sure nobody has any type of electronics on them, nothing's being transmitted, and they can tell if something's being transmitted. They can tell if there's any type of cell phones, any type of electronic devices and such, because it has to remain top secret. Now, she also stated that this is for her and her colleagues to meet with Grusch. Most of the questions that Grusch was asked, he could not answer in a public forum. But in this situation, he could answer many of those questions. Maybe not all of those questions, but he could answer many of them, including names of specific people, operations, corporations, etc. And so this is going to be a very big point. Now, I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but I am going to be following that closely, fam. And another really big point to bring up here is that in regards to this, originally, they wanted to have a SCIF meeting, but they were unable to. And this is a part of those roadblocks or stonewalling attempts. And what's really interesting here is that the representatives have something they can use to push back. One of the congressmen, Representative Ogles, brought up initiating the Holman Rule. The Holman Rule is a rule in the United States House of Representatives that allows amendments to appropriations legislation that will reduce the salary of or fire specific federal employees or cut a specific program. Versions of this rule were in effect during 1876 to 1895 and again during 1911 to 1983. And so they plan on using this to push back against any federal office or federal employee that tries to stonewall them. Also, Grusch had promised several of the questioners to give them the appropriate information that they asked for that he wasn't able to give in the meeting or in the hearing after the hearing was done, including a list of hostile witnesses. And that has me excited, fam. And here I just want to give more of my opinion. So first off, This went exactly as I thought it would, and I'm very pleased with that. Going into this, I would hear a lot of skeptics saying, oh, this is going to be a nothing burger. This is going to be a nothing burger. Or I would hear, UFO fanatics hyping it up as if this is going to be the second coming, or this is going to be the most exciting thing ever. We're going to have little green men. We're going to have UFOs and shit. Now, don't get me wrong. It was exciting. It was very exciting, but not on the level they were hyping it up to be. And I wasn't expecting it to be like that. What I was expecting was that this was going to be, or possibly, let me choose my words correctly here, it was going to possibly be something that would lead to bigger things happening. And at the end, the takeaway from this is that this is going to lead to new legislation. This is going to lead to further hearings. This is going to lead to investigations. And all of this may end up leading to disclosure or for disclosure. And I just want to say, again, I'm not sharing my politics here. I'm not a political channel, but I just want to say that I was really pleased to see the bipartisanship here, to see the coming together of both Republicans and Democrats to tackle this issue. And now maybe I'm wrong. I don't follow a lot of political stories very often, especially today, but I can't remember the last time I saw that type of solidarity. I think the last time I saw that type of solidarity, or at least I can remember, was the week following 9/11, when you had congressmen, Republicans and Democrats, senators and representatives standing on the steps of the Capitol, singing songs together. So this is right here, in and of itself has brought unity. So, and we haven't even seen anything for ourselves yet. So just imagine what would happen, or what's going to happen, if we actually see, a vehicle, if we actually see a specimen. What is that going to do to the world? I don't know, fam. But let's move on to the next story. Our next story is Green Fireball caught on camera sparks UFO fear in Louisiana. At 4:30 a.m. on July 14th, a green fireball was witnessed blazing across the early morning sky, and this has instilled concerns of UFOs in the residents of Gretna, Louisiana, which is situated on the opposite side of the Mississippi River from New Orleans. Residents believe it is possibly a sign of aliens. Numerous pieces of footage have been captured of the bright round green object. Here, let's take a look at some.
But check this out. The fireball was caught by this security camera in Thibodaux from Chantel Danos. You can see how it just lights up the sky and the neighborhood like it's in the middle of the day for just a brief couple of seconds. And we have more for you. This is from meteorologist Brandon Lashbrook from our Fox sister station in Baton Rouge. This was caught on his dash cam. The fireball lights up the sky before dashing behind the few clouds off in the distance. That'll, of course, wake you up before you get to work. Next, we head to the North Shore, where Noel Louvier caught this on his Nest Cam in Hammond. It dives behind the trees, but is still the same bright light many saw across the region. And as you can tell, several of these videos come from doorbell or security cameras, like this one from Shelby Duhan in Moss Bluff. We call them fireballs because they are extra bright meteors, and by the way they're
In regards to the footage, one local said, "That ain't no meteor, that's an alien ship warping into our space and time." While another remarked, "UFO must have stopped to get a po' boy." A po' boy is a sandwich originating from Louisiana, made with meat and New Orleans French bread. Reports of sightings have been widespread, with some reported as far east as Florida and others as far west as California. While residents, or at least some of them, are convinced there are aliens involved, the Weather Service commented on the situation saying, "Dazzling, a meteor lit up the sky in southeastern Louisiana yesterday morning." Here are my thoughts on all of this. It looks just like the object that was in the sky from the Las Vegas UFO incident a few months ago. Let's compare the footage. First, this is the footage from the Las Vegas incident. Now this is the footage from the incident that took place over Louisiana. Now, I'm not going to say what happened over Louisiana or what that object in the sky was, but I feel confident that whatever it was the same as what happened or what the object was in Las Vegas. Now, with that being said, there's one noticeable difference. In the Las Vegas story, there was a family that claimed they saw aliens in their backyard, while no such thing happened this time. I'm not necessarily saying that these are aliens. However, a couple of factors could explain why no such thing has happened or nobody has come forward with sightings in this particular situation. First, Gretna, Louisiana has by far a lower population density of Las Vegas. I'm not sure what the population of Las Vegas is, but Gretna, Louisiana has a population of just about 17,000, give or take 1 or 200 or a couple hundred. Secondly, the Las Vegas incident took place at 11:50 p.m., while the happening above Louisiana occurred at 4:30 a.m. So that could possibly explain why nobody has came forward with any sightings. But what do you think about all of this? Is it a meteor? Is it aliens? Is it the government testing something? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And that's going to do it for this episode of Big Mike's Big Universe. Let me apologize. I know it's rough around the edges this episode. I'm running off for 2 hours of sleep, and this is the first time I've ever made a video immediately following something like this. So, it's been an experience, fam. It's been an experience, but it's been a wild ride, man. I really love this. I've been loving this experience. But what do you think? What did you think about the Louisiana Light situation? What did you think about the congressional hearing? Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. I really love getting different perspectives on any given topic. So with that out of the way, let's call it here, fam. Special thanks to Fran, who does a wonderful job of doing my art. She's back on Twitter, so please give her a follow. A special thanks to all my friends on Twitter. I wouldn't be here without you all. And most importantly, a special thank you to all of you for watching. Please like this video if you liked it. Dislike it if you dislike it. Feel free to comment below and let me know what you think. And if you like my content, please subscribe and turn your notifications on. Until next time, fam, remember, just be yourself and you'll be awesome. Peace out!